What's going on?
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the FILA Sports Podcast. It's Wednesday night, so y'all know what that means. We're talking college football rivalry week. Can't even say that. I don't know why we named the show that. Wednesday night, every Wednesday night, we talk college football. It's your boy, Coach Mario, and my co-host, the man called the Don or Sting or Wrestler Number One. I'm not really sure who he is. What's going on, Don?
Hey, it's the man called the Don. That's who I am. All right. How y'all doing this evening? I know y'all looking at me like, what in the world gotten into this, man? Look, I'll explain that later on. I want to get through this show first. But if you're new to the channel, you already know what to do. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, share this content out with other Georgia college sports fanatics, and hit us up in the comment section. As always,
come holla
at your hometown sports podcast. All right, we have a special guest on the show tonight with us. He's going to pretty much say his name and say where he writes for. So go ahead and Ironman and tell everybody who you are and who you write for.
Hey, I'm Justin Tavio. I'm out of Raleigh, North Carolina. I write for State of the U. You can find me on Twitter at IMFB_BLOG. Little coaching blog I haven't been able to put a lot of time into during the season, and that's usually what happens as a football coach. So coaching the Raleigh area, my 17th season coaching. So Here we are.
All right. Well, we appreciate you coming on the show. I know it's a lot of, the U fans around, hopefully they join us in the chat,
Miami Hurricanes has a strong following in Metro Atlanta. Oh yeah, it's a ton of Hurricane fans.
Trust me, I already know. So
and we turned out to very well.
Oh yeah, Hurricane fans. Yeah.
I'm surprised they ain't I'm surprised and they 30 or 40 people in the chat right now. Hurricanes fans trying to troll.
Yeah, real quick, Justin, where are you from originally?
Miami, Florida.
Okay. All right. I was gonna say, are you from North Carolina? How did you become a Hurricanes fan? I was like, Tar Heel people let you do that? Okay, that's what I was getting at. I was like, what? Hold on. How did that happen?
No, from Miami, Florida, West Prime. Yep.
Oh, I'm about to say, I know. So I'm about to say, are you from Pork and Beans Projects?
No. My mom lived in Liberty City, though. Uncle, for a while, and went to Killian. And so, yeah, my brother went to Southridge and Palmetto. I went to Palmetto for a year.
Okay.
So we were my dad's City Miami Fire, so we are definitely Miami-Dade folks. Yeah.
Dade, born and raised in the county of Dade. Yep. Okay. We're gonna run through last week's college football scores around the metro area, and then we'll get into some Hurricane and Georgia Tech talk. More Hurricanes because people don't want to talk about Tech as much. But I can tell you, hold on, just wait, be patient. We'll start off last week. We know UGA lost to South Carolina in double overtime, 20-17. like I said, I have to go back. I have watched a little film. I told y'all when we talked Sunday, I said I have to wait and watch the film to find out were the routes not being called or was it Jake just not taking them? And y'all know I love Jake, but Jake missed some reads. Jake missed some reads. There were some deep routes called. There were some crossing routes called, and Jake just didn't hit them. So they'll get it fixed. I believe in Jake. So Saturday they take on Kentucky at 6 p.m. That'll be on ESPN, and UGA is sitting at 5-1. Way too early to be talking about rankings now. Let it play out. Win your conference with one or fewer losses. You're good. Way too early to worry about rankings. Let it play out. Georgia Tech, they dropped one to Duke, 33-41. Starting to score a few more points though. Yeah. We're scoring more points each week. Saturday, obviously, we take on Miami. I was supposed to read this one last. I don't know where I'm reading it now. That'll be 12 p.m. ACC Network, and we're sitting at 1-5 now. Georgia State, another win. Georgia State's gonna get bowl eligible done.
Look, did we say that?
All right. Yeah, they had a win against Coastal Carolina. That's a conference win. Saturday they have Army. That'll be 7 p.m. and that is on ESPN Plus. And right now Georgia State is sitting at 4-2, and Georgia State's, like I said, they're probably gonna get bowl eligible. Army's not a pushover.
Oh no!
Army's not a pushover.
They almost beat Michigan.
If somebody in the chat, could you look up the point spread on that one? I want to find out because is Army favorite?
Look, listen. Army almost beat Michigan, probably. So that pretty much tells you everything you need to know.
And everybody almost beat Michigan.
Hey man, so. Don't start that now. Don't start that.
All right, but yeah, I want to check the line on that game. And that's on ESPN Plus. You can catch that one on ESPN Plus. Kennesaw State had a win, 45-23 over Charleston Southern. Saturday they'll be at Presbyterian. That's at 2:30, and Kennesaw State is sitting at 5-1, and they should be Presbyterian. So Kennesaw State is rolling right now. Valdosta State is still only our major program around the area that is undefeated. They're still rolling. They beat Delta State 34-13, and Saturday they have Florida Tech, and that's at 3 p.m. and they should get past Florida Tech. They should put a big number on them.
By the way, I will be at I will be covering the Georgia Southern game this weekend in Statesboro. So yeah, I'll be in the building.
Morehouse lost to Tuskegee 10-21. Saturday they have Fort Valley at 2 p.m. and Morehouse is sitting at 2-4. Clark still winless. They took on Kentucky State. They lost 24-35. They scored a few points though. They had been scoring 10 to 12 points, so they scored 24 points. They had a return touchdown in the game. Saturday, they're home versus Savannah State, and that is at 2 p.m. So they'll probably lose the game, but Clark and Savannah State should be a good time. So if you have anything to do, go check that one out. Mm-hmm. And that brings us to the topic at hand. We have Georgia Tech. Like I said, we take on Miami. That is a division game for the Coastal. Saturday, and that one is a noon kickoff. And so the first thing I want to talk about is if you're not familiar, the Hurricanes, they started the season with local kid, my nephew, Jaron Williams. He's not that close to him, but I do know him.
He went to Stevenson.
Jaron Williams. No, he didn't. He went to Central Gwinnett.
He just that's the thing. You always plug in Stevenson. Everybody went to Stevenson.
Well, I told you that Georgia State beat Coastal Carolina, and I didn't tell you that Coastal Carolina leading tackler is a Stevenson High School guy. I left that out.
Well,
so
you just plugged it. I needed.
I wouldn't have.
I need to check my high school diploma. Maybe I probably graduated from Stevenson.
Yeah,
goodness.
Nah. Jaron Williams is from near my area, and he went to Central Gwinnett High School, and he also works out with the trainer. My son is a popular trainer around here that a lot of kids work out with, and my son works out there too. So that's how I know him. But he was replaced. He started the first several games, and he was replaced in the second half 2 weeks ago. Nkosi Perry came in, jump-started the team, and started last week. We got another W. And even though I have a soft spot in my heart for Jaron, watching Nicosi certainly jump-started the offense, throwing the ball downfield, which it seems that Jaron didn't do as much. How's it affected the team, Justin? And how's the change, affected?
The thing with Jaron is he was playing safe, right? I mean, I think he came out to play safe. I think you saw that with the way that he just quarterbacked the game. We used to talk about all the time that there were, throwers, there are passers, and there's quarterbacks. The throwers, Jamarcus Russell, guy with the big arm. A passer is somebody that can kind of do all that stuff that you want, manage the game and all that, but maybe he's not the greatest leader. And then a quarterback is the guy that can lead the team. Quarterbacks,
like that
for quarterbacks win. Yeah, for quarterbacks, wins are a stat. For passers and throwers, wins aren't a stat, right? So I think that's a difference there. And I think for Jaron, I like what he brings to the table. I don't blame Jaron Williams at all. I think Jaron Williams' problem is coaching. I think last year, they could have got him into 4 games. They could have got him playing time, and they didn't do it. You can't tell me there weren't games that were a mess that you couldn't have at least stuck him in and let him get the nerves out, right? Let him get a throw in. Let him throw a bubble. Let him throw a smoke screen. Anything to just get the ball out there and let him get a quick slant. Anything to let him get a ball in his hands and throw it in a college game against real opponents and to get the nerves out, right? If you do that for 3, look at Ohio State, look at Bama, look at Clemson, look at the winners. The difference between the winners and the losers is the winners say, screw it, I'm just going to do it and get the guys some reps because they're prepared for 2 things. A guy leaving early or a guy getting injured. Dabo Swinney, he might have been on one knee praying to God, is what he said. But he told the kid in his face against Syracuse last year when Lawrence came out and Chase Bryce went in. He told Chase Bryce, this is why we've given you rep. This is why you're ready. And then he turned around and said he got on a knee and couldn't even look and his stomach was hurting. But, he had to tell the kid in his face, I 100% believe in you. You're ready. Right?
He went out and won the game.
He went out and won the game. And no one ever told that to Jaron Williams. They basically told him you aren't ready, which to me is a coaching problem. You aren't ready. We couldn't prepare you. And because you were unprepared, we didn't prepare you all year somehow. And from there, we walked in, and now you've entered this season against Florida totally unprepared. Again, as a coaching problem. Now, you're going to blame that on Mark Richt. You're going to blame that on Manny Diaz. Blame it on whoever you want. But that's coaching. Players win games. Coaches lose games. And so I saw that as a coaching problem.
It's interesting, because I think about what I just said about Jake Fromm. Jaron was a guy that in the first couple games, and especially after the Florida game, I didn't like the offensive coordinator ripping the guy. If you're gonna tell Jaron that in the meeting room, fine. I didn't need to know that. I didn't like that at all. We had some debates about that. I was a buddy. I said, believe me, I have a son who is a high school player. You don't want a coach ripping your kid like that on ESPN. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. I was critical because once again, I didn't know, was it Jaron not throwing the ball down the field or the routes not being called? You guys have Jeff Thomas. You guys have a lot of speedsters. So, but I'm looking at Nicosi Perry, and he's throwing the ball down the field now, so that makes me think that it was Jaron not taking the shots. So, it's one of those things like you said, is it coaching or was it Jaron playing too safe? You know what I'm saying?
Well, I like what you said about the press conference. I had some ACC coaches I keep in touch with contact me about it and say, what a clown show. Like, what a bunch of bullshit. I had one ACC coach tell me straight up that they were then called into a meeting, different school, called into a meeting and straight up told, if you ever do this to one of our kids, you're fired on the spot.
Me and a buddy who's a huge Hurricane supporter. I mean, this guy lives in Metro Atlanta and goes to 5 or 6 home games a year. He's one of my best
What's his
friends.
name? What's his name, though? What's his name?
Hen.
Oh,
Coach
okay.
Henderson. Guy I used to coach with, one of my best. Yeah, Coach Henderson. He's not on Twitter or anything like that. And he told me, you're being too soft. You're being too selfish just because you know the kid. I say, look here, man. I guarantee you Manny Diaz will go and say, don't you ever do that again, because guess what? There's high school kids sitting at home, and I have a dad, and I'm like, I don't want my son playing for that guy. So if you think that wasn't going on, and I told my buddy, I said, I bet you he'll never do it again. Manny Diaz, you can't do that. Telling the guy that in the meeting room, I had no problems with what he said. I shouldn't know that. That should be in-house.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You always take the blame on the coaches. Whether you walk around, turn in the next room, yank the kid over and say it's your fault, doesn't matter. You publicly always take the blame, especially with a 19, 20-year-old kid. Now, a 34-year-old veteran NFL quarterback making more money than you, say whatever you want. I still think you shouldn't, but I think, okay, different story. But a 20-year-old kid that you're riding for your $1 million and he's getting occasional Coke and a smile, no. But what I think about the route stuff is I think N'Kosi Perry has just got a little more guts, I guess you could say.
And he's using his legs, too.
Yeah. And Jim Ross, when you're doing WWE wrestling, back in WWF days, he's got more guts than brains. Sometimes you think, like, man, he'll throw the ball in anywhere. Like, do you trust your arm a little too much? Do you just not care? Or are you just confident as hell? And I think sometimes Perry is confident as hell. And I think Jaron lacks the confidence in his arm strength. I think that caused him to check down a lot more. Protection doesn't help you throwing deep. So, and that's sort of a misperception. Like, to throw a fade on a 3-step drop, you don't need a lot of time. Obviously, it's at the end of your drop. You don't have to hitch up if it's available. But, Jeff, a lot of time, Thomas plays slot, and a lot of those deeper routes are slower developing. Now, if he was an outside guy, you could understand where, like, oh, okay, you're hitting the end of your drop, throw the ball. If you can't throw a ball in 2.6 seconds, we've got a problem, right? So I think the hitch up would be at 2.8 usually. I think a little bit of it was Jaron confidence, and a little bit of his Perry is overconfident. And I think at times it's going to really help Perry. I think like last year in the UVA game, I think it hurt. But I think there's times where it's going to help and hurt that he is that confident and he'll run. And he's not the fastest guy in the world, but Perry seems to be very confident in how to run, which is important.
Yes. Third and medium, he'll go pick up the first down. And that's a big thing. Whereas you saw Jaron a few times. I didn't think it was his fault. A few times he did hold the ball too long. He would take sacks a few times, and N'Kosi Perry just gonna run 5-6 yards, go get the first down. You need that, and that jump starts the team. And then guys, they're gonna make plays for you. But like you said, Jaron's a freshman. He'll learn that. He'll learn that stuff. He'll develop that.
Today we, even in coaching today, we completed a 15-yard out route that was blatantly open to just run and get the first down, which was, let's say it's 3rd and 4. Our quarterback, kick out block happened on a sprint out. Quarterback could have taken off, got down, and he threw the much tougher, 12-yard out. I'm like, oof.
You got to understand the situation there. It's not first or second down.
Yeah, against their twos, that's fine. But also, first down, that's fine. But on 3rd and 4, or whatever it was, just run for the 5 yards. It was wide open. And, he didn't really, kids, he doesn't understand why he shouldn't throw the 15-yarder or whatever. But for me, it was like just running, get a big old kid, run and get down and take your yard. So.
Extend the drive, keep the defense on the sideline.
Right.
Yeah, you always want your offense on the field. The less your defense plays, better. Always want your offense on the field. Yeah. Going to the chat real quick. We have Pigskin Junkie join us. What's going on, Pigskin? He said, Don, you going through a midlife crisis.
I ain't even reached midlife yet. Come on now.
That's bad then.
I'm not going through.
If Miami loses to Georgia Tech, I have.
Look, you. Hey, I'm gonna tell you something. You ain't got these problems. You ain't got these Georgia sports problems over here, man.
Well, the last thing we're gonna do is prediction. So yeah, I don't think that. Well, we were all wrong last week in our predictions, though, because last week we previewed the South Carolina-Georgia game, so nobody took South Carolina.
Nobody.
Even the guy we had on from South Carolina. But, all right, so right now, in the Coastal, Miami's 1-2 in conference play, and you guys have a win over the leader of the Coastal, Virginia. The Coastal still. It's still wide open. How do you guys do you think you guys can win out and win it?
I mean, you'd hope so. Duke's going to be a hard out. You know, Duke's good, man. I was at the Georgia Tech Duke game, and being right here in Raleigh, and Duke is going to be tough, man. They can score. Quarterbacks are really good. They wound up going down in the red zone and running the flex bone triple option, looking like kind of a look, which was interesting, and kind of jammed that at Georgia Tech and scored on it pretty much every play.
He was definitely trolling.
Oh yeah, Cutcliffe is a feisty guy. People look at him like this old, and people look at him like this old grandpa that he's like a Hank Hill looking guy, but you don't have to Cutcliffe. He and when he gets that he's like Paul Johnson. When he gets that fire under him, he will put 70 points on you just to do it, right?
We've actually talked about Cutcliffe probably on our Wednesday show. His name has come up 2 or 3 times. I have the utmost respect for Cutcliffe. I've met him before too, and he's a genius, and he is revered amongst college and pro coaches. And David Cutcliffe could go coach anywhere he wanted to. Yes,
I think he enjoys his smart guys at Duke.
Yeah, and he self-admitted he doesn't like to do the recruiting. He doesn't want it, so he's never going to want to deal with a program that's expecting to win 10 games a year. He doesn't want that. He just wants to go out and coach quarterbacks and throw the ball around and score points. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, what do you think about your guys' chances? Or who do you see emerging from the Coastal?
I mean, I think Virginia is still a good front runner. Yeah. I don't know if one rough game defines a entire season, but sometimes it does, I guess. You just tank. A lot of what happens with Miami depends on that Florida State game. In the past, Miami's lost to Florida State and totally tanked the season. They've beaten Florida State and just pushed all the way through the season and, lost to Pitt randomly. But, I think that is the difference is what happens with that Florida State game. That's the big one. And it doesn't matter what the scores are and the records and blah, 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 and all the cliches. That's the game. And I think even though they're on opposite sides of that conference, it doesn't matter. That's what pushes Miami either up or it collapses them back down.
I put the question in there, and I've been thinking about this as I put it in, and I don't have an answer. Who I think will emerge from the Coastal. So I put the question in there, and I've been trying to think. But I think whoever emerges, it's Clemson, especially the way they're looking right now, because we all expect Clemson to emerge from the Atlantic.
Yeah.
In the ACC championship game, though, I don't expect the cakewalk for Clemson this year, though. So I expect the ACC championship for somebody to challenge them, where the past 2 years you were like, come on, it's not a chance.
Yeah, it's going to be a good game.
The
ACC championship game, low key, is going to be a good game.
Yeah. In the past couple years, no matter who got there, you didn't expect it to be a game. So this year, I expect whomever get there, I expect it to be a game, whether it be Virginia, Duke, or Miami. So, hopefully that'll be more interesting. And I personally think Clemson is due for a slip up. I said before this year, I thought UGA would get a slip up. I didn't think they were going undefeated. So I think Clemson
I'm gonna be honest with you. If Clemson has to play Virginia in the ACC championship game, I think Virginia might give them a run for their money. Virginia is a good football team. A lot of people ain't been giving them credit.
They have a quarterback who can make play. They have a quarterback who can pick up third and medium and extend drives. I actually saw Virginia. I went to Virginia and Georgia Tech last year when they played here. And they have a quarterback who can pick up third and medium with his arm or with his legs, and he can extend drives, and that kind of guy always hurts you.
And a lot of people don't understand that, Virginia, the past few years, they've been putting out some good quarterbacks too. Kurt Benkert, but he's our backup. He's a good, he was a good quarterback when he was at Virginia. So
you can transfer from somewhere, right? He transferred it to Virginia from somewhere else.
I don't know if he was somewhere there before that. Yeah. So so you kind of mentioned Florida State, and brings me to something that I definitely want to discuss. And I always have to bring this up every week, Justin. I'm a little older than my co-host and majority of our followers. So when I was a kid, the premier game in college football, without a doubt, was Florida State versus Miami. For years, it had national playoff implications. Obviously, it's huge for bragging rights and recruiting in the state of Florida. It was the premier game in college football. What happened? Can it ever get to that? And then what is the premier college game now? But we'll just start now. What happened, and can it ever get back to that?
A couple of things happened. One thing that happened to a game like that in regarding to recruiting, I think, is the recruiting services that are out there that are deeper than what we know. We think of the word recruiting service, we think of 24/7 and Rivals and things like that. But I mean the services that provide the colleges with these giant lists of all of the high school kids who are out there, and then you can kind of like trim those down, and it provides you with their address and their phone number and their Twitter and like their huddle links, and then the fact that every coach once approved in college football can get into like a back networking of huddle, and they can look at every single full game, everything that you're doing on huddle on the back end, right? Mm-hmm. Excuse me. And once they're in there, they are seeing everything. So a kid like Santana Moss, who got on a track scholarship to Miami in 1997 or whatever it was, he's not slipping under the cracks anymore. Well, obviously that rule has been, changed. Yeah. Santana's rule, basically. But also, guys aren't flying under the radar. I can promote myself on Twitter. I can go to a camp. Travel is cheap. You got things like Southwest and Allegiant and these other airlines, Frontier and Spirit. I can go up to a camp somewhere else. Guys can fly down to see us easier. One time I was at a high school game and Charlie Strong, when he was in Florida, dropped off on a helicopter. I mean, it's easy to get around for these guys these days. And that was 10 years ago, think about now. I just think that you can't hide a player anymore. They used to hide players. You can't anymore. A guy in Palm Beach, Broward, Dade is going to be found. And they're going to be found for scholarship money. They're going to get the attention they want because everybody wants to be loved on, and that's just the truth. Everyone wants to hear their name. Everybody wants to have attention. I mean, that's just a flat-out truth. Other than somebody maybe with borderline personality disorder, other than that, everybody else wants attention and wants love, right? And so I think now, would I rather walk on at Miami or Florida State, or would I rather go to Marshall? Would I rather go to ECU? Would I rather go to NC State? Chuck Amato knew how to pick up those down south guys at NC State and bring up. All of a sudden, that roster went from Hendersonville to Killian, right? I mean, he knew how to do that. So I think for that, it's harder to be. Back then you used to look at the roster and it was Florida 100%, and a Miami roster was 80 some odd percent South Dade. Miami Dade Broward, and the Florida State roster had a lot of Miami Dade Broward, and then that's Jacksonville kids and Tally kids, and that's it, right? I think now those guys, Jerry Judy's just going to go up north. Between the suitcase of money and between the attention. I mean, if you offered me $200,000, where would you go? I take the money, baby. I mean, you can't argue with me. Well, yeah. I mean, I drove at the Plymouth high school. I take the money.
And back then, too, back in the 80s and 90s, people looked at Miami kids like, oh, these ain't nothing but thugs or whatever. So you had some programs that didn't even want to touch them, to be honest with you. But the thing is, they saw Miami racking up championships in the 80s and 90s, and like you had teams, like Nebraska and and other teams like Michigan and them, they will start plucking those players up. They start taking chances on them.
Well, where's Tommy Frazier from? Daytona Beach. Yeah. Where's Devin Bush from? Heritage Plantation or something like that. I mean, you had to. Jackie Robinson, I mean, is the reason why Alabama integrated, right? Yep. I mean, it is systemic racism, right? Yeah, that idiot with the Penn State letter had just said the whole stuff about those Miami players. Go show me the difference between a Miami roster, GPA, test score, appearance, blah, 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 in anywhere else roster. It's going to be very similar. I mean, the admissions are tough. Look at Georgia Tech. Admissions are tough. Different type of kid, right? I hate to hate on LSU, but LSU's actual student body's admissions are low. Georgia Tech's try to get in. Try to get into Virginia Tech. I can't.
You just said
yes, man.
You just said so many interesting things because if you guys didn't catch it in the beginning, Justin does some high school coaching in the Raleigh area. I'm involved with recruiting for high school kids in this area as well. So hush, I wasn't even gonna bring up the school. See, there you go. Because it's not. I just don't do that school though, Don. I do for this area, so I don't just handle that school. I do other.
We gonna have December after championship week. You already know it's gonna be the Georgia High School Championship football championship. We go pretty much talk about Georgia High School championship week, and then I'm gonna try my best to get somebody like a coach or something to come on the show.
Oh, I already
see. See. That's why I asked questions. I already know you know somebody.
but absolutely what you're saying is 100% true. But I will tell you two of the biggest things that happened in Florida State for you Florida State fans: Mark Richt and Chuck Amato leaving. That's what ruined Florida State.
Yeah.
Mark Richt and Chuck Amato.
Taking the people. Well, and hiring Jeff Bowden as your offensive coordinator, but had he pulled in another young, unproven guy like the guys were when he hired him, like Mickey Andrews was when he hired him. Obviously when he left he was old, but when he hired him he was young. When he hired Amato he was young. When he hired Rick he was super young. Manny Diaz, he was super young, right? A lot of these guys were super young when he hired him. If he had gone after somebody else that was, if he had hired Rich Rod, right? Mark Richt leaves, you bring in Rich Rodriguez for a couple of years, you see new things, you learn new things, right? And his son, Tommy, was the real smart one, right? With Tulane and then going to Clemson. I mean, he did a lot with Dantzler and some guys like that. He did a lot with Tulane and with Clemson. I mean, obviously, eventually Dabo did more, but I think he did a lot with Clemson. I always like those Clemson teams that had Dantzler on them, and I know there's another quarterback that was pretty well known, but I always liked Woody Dantzler. Taj Boy. Dantzler was a cool name, so I always liked it. But I think
Dantzler was a Falcon.
And he didn't hire the right son, but obviously that one had kind of transcended that role. But if he had gone out and found some other young guy to do it, I think Bobby Bowden's legacy would have lived on much longer because I think they would have won out a championship. But yeah, it's all about hiring assistant coaches. I've heard this phrase: it's acquisition, development, and deployment. So how do you recruit? How do you then get in the weight room and actually have on-field coaches develop? And then how do you deploy them? What is your scheme to get them out there in the field and play the right guys and not sit Jaron Williams for an entire year when you should have played him and got him developed and deployed? Who do you acquire? I mean, they did a great job acquiring him. They poached him away, right? But then from acquiring him, are you developing him and then deploying him properly? And I don't think playing him under center in a slow developing play action is going to be his thing, right? He's young. He needs to have his eyes not only on his targets, but also on potential blitzers. I think that's the kind of stuff as a coach that, why are you having him turn his back on slow developing plays? It makes no sense. So when I look at Florida State, I look at Miami, and I want to get after that. I want to say, you have to have the right coach. I love Coach Taggart. He was great at USF. I was in Oregon right before he was for a year. I was really excited about him going to Oregon. I'm like a backup Ducks fan, I guess. And I was really excited. I like the Ibis and the Ducks. That's weird. But, I'm a backup guy. I liked him. It was a shame he left. I understood why he did. I was also miserable freezing my ass off. But and Mario's done a great job of jumping in there, right?
Cristobal.
I think he's done a great job. But, I think Willie is the right guy for the job. I think you just have to give Willie Taggart the time to do the job. If you look out there on the landscape, of black head coaches, there are none. Like, you're not giving guys the same chance. Tyrone Willingham was the number one person out there in the world that you could point to and say, why do all these other guys get the chance? I think they like ruined Tyrone Willingham on coaching because now he's sort of like an ambassador. I think he just said, wow, this isn't worth it.
Ty Willingham was at Notre Dame. What was it? 3 years? 3 years or 4 years? The guy who came after him after 4 years had the exact same record and got an extension.
Yeah.
So that just tells you a little bit right there.
Yeah.
Had the
And the one thing about Willingham, man, that man, he can recruit his behind off too.
Yeah. And the guy came behind him, had the same record, and like I said, got an extension. Different melanin though.
And his best season, his wife's best season, was with Willingham's player.
Yep. His second season there. Yeah. All went down. Yep. We'll run through the chat real quick. I do it for Jesus Productions.
That's Toby D. What's good, Toby D?
Oh, what's up, Toby D? He said, why my boy look like he about to kill somebody? Dunn has Georgia sports going through this extreme. You can't see him, Justin. Dunn, he has his face painted like Sting.
Wolfpack Sting.
Yeah. And D Wing joined us. Going on, D. He said he asking Dunn, are you okay? And everybody comment on Dunn. What's going on there, Georgia boy? What's going on, Trey? Question for the night, you guys. You guys can go ahead and start putting in question. What is the premier game you guys think in college football? When I say now, like the past 4 or 5 years, what's the premier game? And go ahead and put in your predictions for the Miami and Georgia Tech game. That Georgia boy asked me where my face paint at, Coach. You saw my response. That Georgia boy, I ain't gonna read it on air. And that Georgia boy, he said that he think you gave 5 answers. That Georgia boy,
you pick one. Pick a
he
side.
Said, he says UGA and Florida, Alabama and Auburn, Bama and LSU, Texas and OU are the games that still get hyped. And we do agree that those are the one. And I guess I'm talking about you, that Georgia boy. I guess I have to say the Iron Bowl right now. If I had to pick the premier college football game the past several years, I guess I would have to say the Iron Bowl. What do you think, Don?
Look.
Oh, why are we even asking you?
You already know it's the game. The game.
It don't even have a name.
Michigan, it says it's the game. That's what it is called. It's called the game. Michigan versus Ohio State. Now,
when last time
it's been a while. I think 2011, I believe. Yeah, I know. Harbaugh. If Harbaugh do not beat Ohio State this year, yeah, we need to go ahead and send him back to the NFL. I'm sick of this. But another good game. I think UGA and Georgia Tech. You know, clean old fashioned hate. I don't care what anybody say that. That's always gonna be a great game.
But that's a homer. I guess,
that one, and then a national game.
Yeah.
To me, my national game it'll be Oklahoma and Texas. That's just me. Iron Bowl is good. You know, it just sometimes you just know Bama's gonna end up winning anyway. And then for a while back like before Nick Saban got there, Auburn pretty much drugged Alabama. So
Tuberville on that thing.
Tommy Tuberville. I trust me, I remember.
Yeah.
So
Tommy Tuberville. Old Tuberville. I like Tommy Tuberville. He was a good guy. So what's your answer, Justin?
Take it Army Navy.
Army Navy.
I think everybody watches
go against that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's sort of alone. The one in the snow, with the field goal at the end was nuts. I mean, every one of those endings pretty much has been really close, regardless of what record anybody had. I think this year I'm going to take one. I'm going on a limb. I'm going to say Navy wins that thing.
Oh, okay.
Hey, Don. Guess what? It's a player I coached for years. Probably the best player I ever coached. He plays for the Navy.
Okay.
He didn't go to Stevenson. No.
Well,
he went to Mountain.
I know one of the players he played. I know a player that played for Navy. He graduated last year.
Yeah, Justin is a sophomore cornerback. He's on special teams. I think he's gonna break into the lineup next year. Best kid I ever coached. Kid's awesome.
And that's one of those places it takes a long time to break into the starting lineup. Like usually they only play.
Exactly, because freshmen can't play, and then so sophomore you're basically a freshman. So yeah, usually in the service academy you don't get on the field till.
He played linebacker on Heflin. Last name Heflin.
Okay. I think I heard that name before.
Oh, he was a great linebacker.
Okay,
Hey, he got called out a few games because he got caught targeting. So
undisciplined.
One of them he actually targeted. The other one, like, you're rough, y'all tripping. But anyway,
undisciplined guys, you coached undisciplined.
All right, so let's go ahead and talk about the predictions for the game. So I'm going to start off. I'm going to end up saying Miami is going. I'm sorry, you guys. I'm sorry. But, right now, just Tech is still developing, and they still have a long ways to go until they can win. They've been losing games left and right. So I'm going to go with Miami. I'm not even going to put a score. I'm not going to predict the score. I'm just going to say Miami wins. Now, if Tech wins, I'll be happy. I'll be happy, and I'll be acting the fool. But, I think Miami's going to end up winning this game. So, and how the way Miami took care of, business against Virginia last week, like that, that was,
will win the game, but this game will be closer than people think. Since Miami has joined the ACC, the years that Miami has, how can I put this? The years where Miami was supposed to beat Tech the worst, they've always been competitive games. The years that Miami actually blew Tech out a couple times were the years that actually Tech should have been the stronger team. This has been a very weird series, almost like the UGA South Carolina series. This has been a very weird series where the team who was always the favorite since they've started playing didn't always win. So Miami will win the game, but this will be a competitive game, and it's always a weird game. Georgia Tech, Miami, there will be some weird stuff happen, and it's going to be competitive, but Miami will win. They're not going to blow them out, though. It's going to be competitive.
Yeah, I think the thing I saw with game Georgia Tech and Duke, the thing I really saw there was that Georgia Tech did not quit. Like, they just dragged it out, to the last possible second of fighting back. And I think that's something that Miami may not be able to handle to stop them. I don't know if Miami's got the foot on the throat mentality that you have to just put a team away, right? You're up 21-3. Do you make it 70-3? Do you make it 52-3? Or does it wind up 28-17, right? And I don't think Miami has an ability. I think it's one of those, 14-point games, where Miami edges them out by 14 or something like that. And I think the thing that would put away a Georgia Tech is consistency on offense, because, they don't have the depth.
Yeah.
But Miami doesn't have consistency on offense. So the thing that would really drive them out and put them away isn't even really there. Yeah. So I think it's like a 14-point game. I think Miami does win with a little more depth, a little more talent. A lot more talent, a little more depth.
Definitely.
But I would say, Coach Collins, I think he's going to get the thing turned around. I feel like this is like a year 0 or almost even a year -1. I think you give him 3 years there.
Have to.
3 years in that wide open Coastal is his.
Yeah, you have to.
You got to give him 3 years to even try to, get to square one. He's nowhere near square one yet. He got to recruit his guys to get in there. He only had one year to recruit, and really, to be honest with you, you really can't even count the off season because he came in so late that everybody, all the top recruits were already been picked. They already picked their schools already. So,
and that's the problem with the early signing period.
And look, my son is signing early this year, Justin, and he's been wondering like, hey man, maybe I did the wrong thing because he's trying to enroll early. It's interesting, two things. You said something about Georgia Tech earlier. You were saying about the academics at Georgia Tech versus LSU. Very interesting. I know a kid right now who is considering both, and that's what he's struggling with. The kids at Georgia Tech, they're going to play hard. They're not going to quit. They actually love Coach Collins. They're not going to quit. They love Coach Collins. But some of the kids at Tech, some of the kids at Tech have told me if they know what they know now, they would have chose somewhere different strictly because of the academics. They love Coach Collins, but strictly like, hey man, some of my buddies play over here and tell me they're not dealing with, so the academic requirements are different at Tech. They are very much different. But yeah, the kids, they're not going to quit because they love Coach Collins. They do. They love him. So they're going to play. And you can see that. That's why they're not quitting. It's obvious. When you don't like your coach, you don't play hard.
They're not quitting.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not quitting. It's not Bobby Neutrino. They're not.
Exactly. Yeah. All right. So we'll go back into the chat real quick, and then we'll wrap up. D Wing said Alabama and Auburn is his premier game. And that Georgia boy said nobody checking for Michigan and Ohio State done. We need Michigan to knock Ohio State off, though. I love Justin Fields, but I don't like Ohio State. I do not want to see them in the playoff. So it's like, dang, I want to see Justin Fields do good, but I don't want to see Ohio State do good. It's like, I wish their defense sucked and he do good.
Hey, y'all, y'all UGA fans, y'all gonna be rooting for us hard. Y'all gonna be rooting for Michigan hard. Come November, come Thanksgiving weekend. I'm telling you. Cause y'all gonna need us to win to beat Ohio State. Oh, yeah. Let's keep it real now. Yeah. Let's keep it real.
Yeah. And the average Georgia fan, I want to say many, they don't want to see Justin Fields do good. They want to see. And people quit saying that we chose the wrong quarterback. He left. Kirby didn't kick him out. He left. What'd you want Kirby to tell the man in February he's starting quarterback? I mean, come on. He didn't get kicked out. He left on his own. And that Georgia boy, he says he has Miami 30, Georgia Tech 17. I don't think it's going to be that high scoring. I think it's going to be 24-13 or something like that. I don't think it's going to be that high scoring a game. We know Georgia Tech is offensively challenging. The thing about Miami too, it's been surprising that they haven't run the ball better this year. That's been the surprising thing about Miami. You certainly thought they'd run the ball better this year. So
I think they ran the ball better than they've allowed themselves to, right? Like I think like Dallas is averaging like almost 7 yards a carry or something like that. They never give the ball.
DJ Dallas, Georgia boy, that play he made a couple weeks ago, that run, and then just to lose the game. Oh man, that was when he ducked under. Who was that against you guys? Mm-hmm. When you went up, that was Duke. Was that Duke?
No,
North Carolina.
I know what you're talking about. Was it North Carolina? Yeah, they big play.
Yeah, that was North Carolina. Yeah, that was North Carolina.
Virginia Tech, I think, too, yeah.
Yeah. All right, so Don, you got any final thoughts before we let Justin plug?
No, I'm gonna go ahead and let Justin plug, and I answer everybody's question in the chat.
Okay. Oh yeah, so he can give his what's the name. All right, so Justin, go ahead and let them know where they can find you at and plug anything that you're trying to sell on eBay.
Yeah, Justin Savio again is on Twitter. It's at IMFD_BLOG. Check us out on State of the U. I do a lot of film review stuff and film preview, so it's not just Miami-based things. It's just football in general. Sometimes it's the offense we run at the school where I'm at. Sometimes it's just things I see around the country. It's things other people do. It's what from a formation and a defensive look I think would work. So yeah, if you want to dive into some of the game and argue. I love having people come on there and tell me I'm wrong. It's always fun.
Debate.
So
we don't argue. We debate. We don't argue. We debate.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Yes.
Because when we argue, I'm gonna call you an a-hole. See. Hey, who's your NFL team? Got to ask you before we let you go.
The Dolphins.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so
painful.
Hey, we're Falcons fans, so hey man, we're brothers.
We're kind of work.
Yeah, we're brothers. We're battling for you guys don't take our number one pick this year. Yeah.
Well, we appreciate you coming on, man, because I thought at first, I did, look you up and I, researched some of your stuff and I read some of your articles and stuff too, and you do a great job over there. But I thought in the back of my mind, like, I hope he's not one of these Miami fans that's going to come on with the chain and start talking all types of noise and stuff like that. Because I don't, it's good to have, yes, we all fans at the end of the day. But at the same time, when we sit down, we talk football, we want to, we want to be intelligent. We don't want to come on, I don't want nobody coming on here trying to troll or anything like that. So, like I said, man, we really appreciate it.
Yeah,
I will. This is not meant to be a diss at all, but Miami fans are pretty arrogant, but they really have the right to be. I mean,
they like to look. They like the college football versions of the Dallas Cowboy fans. Pretty much.
Yeah.
Dallas Cowboy fans. That's why.
Yeah, but Miami has the hardware to back it up, as well. So it's like they can be arrogant.
I know somebody and this is not Michael Irvin, but I know somebody who is a Cowboys fan and a Miami Hurricane fan, and they also a Yankees fan too.
Bandwagon.
Man. Yeah.
The 1994 bandwagon. Yeah.
All right, Justin. So,
all right, guys.
Thanks for joining us, man. And I'm gonna hit you up on Twitter, and I'm gonna read some of your articles, man. Thanks for joining us, and don't be a stranger. And we're gonna have you on again as well.
All right. Have a good night.
All right, you too.
All right. So to answer everybody's question in the chat, everybody been wondering what's going on with me. I've changed my character up. I'm still the Don. I'm just upset. I'm disgusted at a lot of these fans in our fan base. And I'm not just talking about Falcons fans. I'm talking about Braves fans. I'm talking about Hawks fans. United fans, hey, I ain't got nothing but love for y'all. Y'all ride or die forever. UGA fan, I'm not even a UGA fan, but goodness, the amount of complaining and toxicity in this fan base, man, it's crazy. Like, guys, like, this is why I'm not going to debate anymore about any type of sports on social media. You want to have a debate with me? You better do like these hometown supporters do in the chat, and I appreciate y'all joining in. Come chat with me through this. This is the only way I'm talking sports from here on out. This is the only way I'm going to talk is through YouTube, Forever I Love Atlanta Sports Podcast. Or if anybody want to invite one of us onto their platform. I'm not doing anything else. So, because people always misinterpret everything. People thinking that you just a homer and all this other stuff. Like, look, I don't care what you say, to be honest with you, because I'm going to still ride or die for my team every day of the week. 365, baby. So, like I just said, if you guys want to have a conversation with me, you know where to find me. Other than that, I'm going to continue doing this. And every time we do a show, I'm going to do this. Until we bring a positive. That or I just wear a mask. The masks are coming. I ordered some masks. The masks are coming. It'll be easier. It took me like 30 minutes to get all this on. I know I did a horrible job. So, hey, it is what it is. Once because it starts with us. It starts with us. To bring positivity in this fan base. In this Atlanta sports fan base, it starts with us. Because guess what? ESPN is not going to do it. Fox Sports is not going to do it. And CBS Sports is not going to do it. Look, I know fans are frustrated. Look, I'm frustrated too. You frustrated. Everybody's frustrated because we're losing. But at the end of the day, you still supposed to ride for your team. You don't allow people from other fan bases. You don't allow people from these 3 or 4 letter networks. You don't allow even people that's in your fan base to trash your team. All right? You just don't do that. Like, I understand, yes, we're not a good football team right now. I understand, yes, the Braves pretty much letting the Cardinals come back and win the NLDS, and then they got mollywopped in the NLCS against the Nationals, and now the Nationals going to the World Series, and after we trolled them saying May 24th, what happened May 24th, and guess what? They about to go play for their first World Series title. I understand, yes, Hawks is a young team. We almost made it in the 2014-2015 season. I understand that. And I understand the frustrations around town that A lot of people, quote unquote, don't like soccer, and people still want to sit up here and debate with me that this is not a soccer town, which I call shenanigans on. Like, I understand that. We understand the frustration. But at the end of the day, guys, we have to stay positive. We got to stay loyal to this fan base. If you can't do that, guys, there are other teams you can be a fan of. All right? No one signed their contract to say I am an Atlanta Falcons fan, or I'm an Atlanta Braves fan, or I'm an Atlanta Hawks fan, or I'm a Georgia Bulldogs fan, or a Georgia Tech fan. All right? You have the right. You can express your First Amendment right and go join another team. The reasons why, huh? Okay. Bless you. Bless you. Bless you. Bless you. You just sneezed, right? You just sneezed a lot of crap out your mouth.
That was what you said.
I get what you're saying. But same time, yes, we talk about Devondre Campbell suck. Yeah, we say the team suck.
And he does. I'm not disagreeing with you. He does.
But at the same, but what I'm getting at, my main goal is getting at is when you have people outside our fan base who want to come bash the team, and somebody sticking up for the team, and somebody say, "Oh, well, you wrong. He's right. I don't care who Stephen A. Smith is. I can care less about a Skip Bayless. These people don't even watch the team. Now, I look. I can walk up to stop. I can walk up to Stephen A. Smith right now and take his phone, take his computers away from him, take all the technology away from him, and ask him, hey, name 10 players on our Atlanta Falcons outside of Matt Ryan, Julio Jones, Vic Beasley, and Keanu Neal. I bet you he can't even name me 5. Folks are going to stop disrespecting the teams. And that's what's going to end up happening. Now, am I going to pull up at somebody's house? Am I going to pull up at somebody's house or whatever? No, I'm not. I'm not that type of person. But at the same time, man, this is what I love. I've been rocking with these teams for over 31 years. All right? And yes, I respect other people's opinion. I get that. But don't come at us when we try to defend our team and you say, oh, well, he can say he's right about what he's saying. You sound stupid. So you pretty much telling me that somebody could come in your house and sleep with your wife and you don't say nothing about it. That's what you pretty much telling me. That's what you telling me, you that type of person.
Oh boy, you stretched out one. I get the analogy, but I certainly think you stretched out one a little bit. I see where you're going though. Yeah.
Now, as I said, I am going to defend these teams to the death of me. All right. If y'all with me, you with me. If you're not, hey, I'm going to apologize now. This is my first, last, and only apology. You know, nothing personal, just business. All right. Now, if you're new to the channel, you already know what to do. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button. Share this content out with other Georgia's college sports fanatics. And hit us up in the comment section. We'll be back this Sunday. Hopefully, we'll be back to talk about some Atlanta United because they got a playoff game this Saturday. All right.
What time is it? Do you know what time?
I believe it's Saturday afternoon. I believe. I may not be for sure.
Afternoon. Okay, I'm gonna have to look it up. Yeah, let me look it up.
Just come join us Sunday afternoon. Well, we got our halftime show that day as well. Then in the evening we'll do our Sunday evening show like we normally do. All right. This has been your boy, the Don, and Coach for FILA Sports.
And Coach,
as always,
come holla
at your hometown sports podcast. I just read something. You can't tell fans how to be a fan. This social media era has given people the opinion to say things without consequence. I get what you're saying, man. I get what you're saying. I'm not trying to tell people how they feel or how to be a fan. I'm not. That's not what I'm getting at. You know, I know I can't stop that. You know. But what I'm not, but what I'm, but what I'm, yeah, be more supportive. That's one. Yeah. But the main thing is, don't try to shoot somebody else down for defending the team.
Okay, I can go with that. For the people who defend the team, don't jump in on them. I got you on that. I guess I can get with that. I feel you on that.
That's all I ask for. All right.
You're going to be wearing that mask a long time, though.
Hey, and I'm going to continue wearing it. All right. Appreciate you, that Georgia Boy 17, man.
As always.
All right. Y'all have a good evening. We'll see y'all Sunday.
Yeah.